Hey guys, Infidel 1258 here. Today we're going to get into the comment section and we're going to address some salt. There's a bit of negative feedback around the SPS staking. And we've talked about this, but I think we need to revisit it and come back to it until such time that we get to a place where we can either put these issues to bed, or we've seen growth that dismisses these critiques. Meaning DC back to peg, meaning a growth in the price appreciation on SPS or cards. Because as the value of your assets go up, I think these critiques around the expectation and the cost investment to get started in Splinterlands are going to just fall by the wayside. But that's if we can truly reach a place of price appreciation. I think we will. I'm asking for patience. I want to speak into this moment of criticism and critique because I think I've got something to say about it. So let's read some of the comments. Some of them are actually positive, but we'll start with a place of critique. If that sounds interesting, stick around, stay tuned, like and subscribe. Guys, thank you for your support. Thank you for your comments, subscriptions, and likes. It really means a lot to me. I appreciate you guys. You guys keep me doing it. Before we go further though, check out SPLINTERCOACH.com, $5 a month. They'll track your personalized battle history in Splinterlands. What that means is you're going to see the wins, the losses, how are you winning and losing, which monsters are you using, how often are they winning and losing, in which context, or which rule sets, and what mana caps. That information is fun to look at, but it'll help you get better too. Check out SPLINTERCOACH.com, $5 a month. Get into the video. So it starts over here. I saw a critique from Mike Sparrow, and he's supported the channel for a year. So shout out to Mike. Subscribe to the channel, watching the content, enjoying Splinterlands at least for the last year. And there's critique in here that I hear him saying, you know, he's frustrated about the SPS stake. We'll read it. We'll give him his, like, we'll try to speak and honor what he's, you know, the critique he's raising. Because I think the thing here, guys, is he's not the only one who's feeling these things. And I know this video will have 5 to 10 people who will comment about how the SPS stake has ruined this game. And I think simultaneously there'll be 15 to 25 people who will like and subscribe on this video because they truly believe what I'm saying about this is a necessary step. This is, you know, a helpful process in the appreciation of SPS, which betters the value of our cards because it draws new players. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's read Mike's comment and let's appreciate and honor the points I think he's making that are strong, because he's not entirely wrong. I think I ultimately disagree with where he lands. So Mike goes, he's responding to a video where I say, admit when you're wrong. And in that video, I talk specifically about two things. One, how I hated Immortalis' Summoner and then realized I was wrong. And he was excellent. And my friend Golden Skeeter, who was visiting in that video, he goes, he actually, when the SPS stake came out, he was concerned and considered not playing the game. He actually stopped putting in buy bids on some of the gold foils he was looking at. So like sinking money into this game one day and then really stopping when the stake requirements were announced because he felt it was going to be a real deal breaker. His mind was changed. He reignited those buy bids. So I'm trying to speak to, sometimes you think one way and you wake up the next morning, you feel a different way. I think that's what that video is about. But Mike goes, just because one person didn't leave the game doesn't mean it's a good change. The SPS stake has completely ruined the game for a large percentage of players. I completely disagree. Let's keep going. I know you will deny this because you are one of the whales. But for the people who only invested in DEX because they believed, that's such an important word, you believed it was okay and they didn't need to make SPS to make money, are now screwed. I disagree that you're screwed. But I think it's really important to underline the fact that I'm not sure why you believed that. That's Mike. I hope you hear that in the right context. I'm not trying to flame you here, but man, why did you think it was okay to not have SPS? You've been subscribed. You've been listening to my content. You've heard me speak about how important SPS stake is, how valuable the ownership that is. I don't know your full story, and maybe there's financial hardship in that story. And so maybe ultimately you sold your SPS because you had to. But the first critique I have to, or the pushback I have to lift up is that, you know, we had a clear vision for how SPS was going to be necessary, not optional. And yet, for some reason, you say you believed it would be okay that you didn't have any, or that you didn't have enough, let's say. And then you say you're now screwed. I disagree with that too, but let's go on. And all the money that they spent in the deck is now making fractional returns. May as well say nothing. Okay, I hear the frustration in there. I want to say again, I want to take a deep breath and I want to say, Mike, as I continue here, I'm not trying to attack you in my responses, even if I disagree. It's so important that we engage ideas, especially when we disagree with one another. It'll helps our community, it helps us. So I hear you saying you're not getting anything. You've heard me say before that this game rewards you for your time and attention with what? Massive, life-changing rewards instantaneously? Have I ever said that? Has anybody ever said that? No. This game rewards you for your time and attention with trivial rewards that seem inconsequential at first glance. SPS that's worth 2 cents, soulbounds that are worth nothing. But then if you have a vision for the future, if you believe this game is fun and it has a future, and you're allowed to say you don't think it's fun, you're also allowed to say you don't think it has a future. But if you think it's fun, and if you think it has a future, those trivial rewards will accumulate in the background and add up into a large portfolio of resources that will one day carry a significant value. Soulbounds are one key example. Currently, they are worth nothing at all, no price whatsoever. You can't sell them even if you wanted to. But one day, they will be made transferable through the burning of DEC. And the burning of the DEC into the card will absolutely create a price on that card. And because the way markets just naturally work, supply and demand will drive the price of those assets, meaning that if there is a low supply, there will be the demand that does exist for a great card like these soulbounds, which these soulbounds are amazing, by the way. The demand associated with them will be substantial. That's speculation, but that's a firm opinion of mine. You might disagree, but I'm saying there will be substantial demand for the soulbound cards when they're transferable. And so if you combine that with the idea that they have to be paid to like burnt DEC in order to be even made transferable, you get this situation where supply is going to be held back, artificially made lower. They're naturally non-transferable. They have to be made transferable. That means lower than expected supply. But I'm saying these cards are exceptional and therefore demand will be high. I'm saying the reward for those cards will be substantial. It will have a price. And so when you say nothing at all is being given to you for your efforts in the game, I don't know that you're truly being fair, because one, yes, trivial rewards are what this game is always offered, with a vision that if you see the foundation of it being fun and having a future, that they will multiply and multiply, and your portfolio grows and grows in size, in number of units inside of it. And who cares about units, but they will, and often they always have, and I think will again appreciate. That's my thesis. And I hear you, Mike, you're not feeling that. But then again, do you think the game's fun? Why can't you play it for just the fun side? Do you think it has a future? Why don't you want these assets, even if they're quote unquote worth nothing today? SPS is another example. I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole, but man, at 2 cents, I don't think it's, like Steve R was saying the other day when he came on, we don't think of this token as worth 2 pennies. We think of it as multi-dollars. That's the people who really believe in this game. And we could be wrong. So don't take that like, therefore rubber stamp approval, we're going to $2. But recognize that there's a voice in this community, significant voices in this community that wouldn't sell SPS for 2 pennies. So you get buying pressure that could support a future appreciation. And so when you say nothing, I think you're speaking out of frustration. And it's not realistic or reasonable to say you're getting nothing. You might say you're not getting enough, and I could almost agree to that. I could see with you, I could sympathize with a statement of I'm not getting enough. I can't sympathize with a statement of I'm getting nothing for the reasons I just explained. You go on, there's absolutely no incentive to keep playing. You will say, well, stake SPS. And I say, no, I shouldn't have to. And okay. So it's like, I hear in this, you've heard my arguments. So first of all, thank you for listening in the past. You've been subscribed for a year. You've listened to my videos. You understand my viewpoint. You should stake more. I think you understand my articulation of future price appreciation too. I just stated it. I've stated it many times before. I think what I'm hearing is you were taken by surprise with the magnitude of SPS required to receive the multiplications of bonuses that you feel makes this game worth it. Because it's reasonable to say that there is some degree of reward multiplication that you and every player in this game is going to feel is necessary. Your time is worth something. So you're saying, in some sense, I'm hearing you say, my time is worth more than the trivial multipliers that are available to me when I play with very little or almost no SPS. You don't tell me how much you've got. I'm assuming you have very little. Maybe you have a decent bag, but you're getting 4-time multipliers and you used to get 10 or whatever, and you wish you got 12. You know, I think the devil's in the details, but I would argue when you say things like this, there's no incentive to keep playing. I have to say again, does that mean you think this game is not entertaining? And if it was entertaining a year ago when you started and subbed to the channel, what has changed recently? So then are you saying, I think you probably would say it is entertaining, but I need it to be rewarding also. And I need it to be more rewarding than it currently is with these new changes. That's what I'm actually hearing you say. And all I have to circle back to, I don't know why you believed. I don't know why you believed that, where did you say that? That it would be okay to not have an investment in just cards. I don't know. I'm not sure where that came from. And somebody says that down here later on. And then you do comment on a different angle here that we'll give voice to too. He says, the biggest thing, I'm not even a bot, yet I'm being punished as if I am. I told you guys the battle on bots would inevitably kill the game. So, you know, strong criticism, critique, feeling that you should have more reward for less investment, but that's just never been the vision of Splinterlands, guys. And I hope anybody listening to this video at this moment, I really hope you hear this. This game will not reward you unless you invest in it. Now, you might think that's a bad idea, and that's okay. We can disagree. You think this game's too risky. You think it's not going to have a future. You think it's not entertaining enough to attract players. You think players are going to leave because something about this new reward system is broken. I get it. Those are your opinions, and you should act accordingly. But for a huge community of people, I'm thinking thousands, maybe it might even be 10, 20,000 people that are still here actively playing. I think it's probably in the 5 to 15,000 people are playing this thing seriously. And guys, there was hundreds. There was literally just dozens of people playing this years ago. And yet it persisted, it grew. And I'm saying, I see something special here. You can disagree, but man, if I'm right, the trivial nature of those rewards will be multiplied. I don't want to get into a whole, renewed conversation about how the flywheel could be powerful, how land 1.5 could be powerful, how the new games that are coming to this space could add new attention, and cross-pollination could be really interesting to watch. But man, there's just a million. There's so many interesting and exciting considerations that I personally place heavy value on. And I'm hearing Mike just feel like it's like he's putting up his hands. I've had enough. I can't see it anymore. I'm almost hearing, I'm out. And I don't know if that's so, but man, this game never promised rewards for nothing. And it's always been crystal clear that further up and further in, more investment required. The deeper you go in this, the more multipliers you can receive from it. And then the video is already running. What are we at? We're already at 14 minutes, but I need to cover a little bit of the other side because Jeff Opens Cards does an amazing job. Shout out to Jeff Opens Cards. And happy belated birthday. I saw your Twitter post, pal. He posted he had an ancient face and he was like, I think he said he's 40 or something like that. So happy belated birthday, Jeff. Check out his channel, guys. So this is an articulation of, I think, a reasoned response as to why a battle against the bots was important and why the changes that are seemingly frustrating Mike were justifiable. And I'll spend less time defending Jeff because I largely agree, but I just want to speak his comments to you in the hopes that it'll reach a larger audience, because I think the voice of reason here needs to be, magnified, because I absolutely believe The people who are accumulating resources from Splinterlands and blockchain-based video games that are actually going to be here in the future in a moment of bear market are going to see multipliers that are surprising. And I don't say that from like an ape-in like sales pitch. I say it from a perspective of just slow down and enjoy the game and accumulate whatever you're able, whether it's 1x multipliers or 10x multipliers. Just enjoy the game and accumulate because the future looks exciting. Don't let bear market, bad news and frustrations and my bags are lower. Don't let that get you discouraged and move aside, because if we are anywhere near right and you look at, well, I'm only getting half an SPS per win in gold or whatever. Guys, what if it's $1 and that's 50 cents a win? That's what we're talking potentially about. What if it's a $5 SPS and you're passing up on $2 per half token, right? You know what I mean? Like the multipliers that are possible with a game that's barely reached anyone, but could theoretically reach the masses, man. Like this game is different. This game is revolutionary. This technology is new. So just hold on to that. And even if your only viewpoint is, I'm stepping out, I'm done with this, they've broken my trust, I don't think I believe in where they're going. Even if your final thought is that, would now during the bear market when the cards are at their lowest prices they've been in 2 years, would that be the logical time to step away? I don't think so. Let's read Jeff's comment. If nothing ever was done in response to the bots, it's quite possible we would have 1 million daily active users and everyone would be making fractional returns because the reward pools would be divided by league. Ghost cards and underleveled cards would not be penalized. Remember, that didn't used to be penalized. As a result, massive bot farms with ghost cards via sheer quantity of accounts would be siphoning off large majority of rewards, including dumping reward cards that wouldn't be soulbound because we were talking about ignoring bots and issues related to them. So everything, like he's saying, you would get nothing at all if you played in that world. Let's keep going. If that was our present reality, then what incentive would there be for a real player to keep playing and or to put a cent into the game? There wouldn't be any, guys. Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be an ideal solution that properly limits extraction by bots without feeling like real players are being punished in some way, shape, or form. Yes, there's a tension here. There's a difficulty here. Complicated problems require complicated solutions based on how the game has evolved and ended up until now. Overall, I treat it more like a DeFi platform and only manual play as I do in brawls. If and when I do events, that is manual too, and I have never used a battle helper. Before XBot and Archmage became popular and well known, I made I did rank 100% manual as well as but the emergence of public bots allowed me to utilize more of my assets without eating more of my time. This is my situation too, and I don't love it. I hope we get to a place where bots are entirely removed. I hope the removal of bots from the modern league is successful. I have my questions and my doubts about that happening, but I hope it does work. And then ultimately, I hope that it's something we can propose into the wild, but let's see it work first. And I think he's right. If we hadn't done anything, this game would have broken. There wouldn't be a single meaningful reward because the hundreds of thousands of bot accounts, the farms that are enormous, would have extracted everything, leaving nothing proportionally for you, a person who is playing across one account or two or five even. If the Splinterlands can actually eliminate bots at some point, then I would be happily rank my own games for maybe 1 or 2 accounts. As that point of the number of accounts battles happening overall would be greatly reduced, thus earnings per win would be far easier, far greater, and justify the time sink of playing. Yes, the rewards would go up if fewer accounts are playing because there's a greater proportion paid to each individual winner. Therefore, there'd be a greater value in making sure that you were participating and earning. So if we allow bots and bot helpers, etc., it changes the dynamics. And we should try and aim for something like that. But the problem is there are no easy solutions that simply eradicate these things without, and the exploits that they've taken advantage of, without having an impact on the reward structure to humans also. And I think ultimately we're going to see benefit from it. And I would argue, I would go one step further too. He talks about how he talks about brawls, he talks about certain events that he participates in, and he does those battles. One day, I hope our game gets to a place where there's more and more live events where you can actually, you're a human in front of a computer, your battle submissions are going to be, you're not going to be using a bot in that context. I would love it if we got to a place where we're renting out arenas, we're having Splinterlands battles and it's on the screen. They do this for League of Legends and stuff. The world, if the future got to a place like that, you could imagine bots being a thing that turned the rank experience into a DeFi, but the best players play because they need to hone their skills, because they need to win those live events, which have massive real world tournament value. That is a future that probably is more likely to be realized, especially if the game thrives and grows, because that would be one easy way to, ensure human participation. Because you're literally present fighting the tournament with 16 other members, probably in booths, so we can't have, we don't have any cheating about what your team submissions are like. He says, I don't have an answer as to what the absolute best path forward is in regards to Splinterlands versus bots. In the meantime, I will go with the flow, doing what's allowed that gives me the best results. Yep, me too. Knowing that the goal plan has been to make modern human only for a fair while now. I moved my bots to wild multiple seasons ago, only having to play modern. I reach a plateau in the wild, and I don't want to risk falling from. If modern bans bots, and if it's successful, and the SPS per win in modern ends up being 2 or 3 times more than what the wins are in wild, I think I'll move over. And that's how a lot of people feel who love this game. See, there's voices in this game who invest and who buy SPS and who see this as a benefit. So is it just like you dismissed earlier, Mike, that I'm going to disagree with you because I'm a whale? Do you think it's just only the whales that are disagreeing with you? Is it us versus them? Like, you mean like good guys versus bad guys, and I'm a bad guy in this context because I've invested in the game early? Recognize that anybody who plays this game for a long time is going to accumulate resources, and if you play your cards right, using time and attention to extract rewards through Splinterlands, you're going to become a whale, because that's what happens when you accumulate masses of these resources by effort. And so don't boil it down to whale bad. They have conflicting opinions. They're hurting the little guy. I'm the little guy. I'm the innocent guy. There was no way. That's like a dismissal of personal acknowledgement, like what you could do, right? You could enjoy 2 times multipliers today. You could buy a little bit more SPS and let that bag grow and grow and grow. You could do certain things to intentionally move forward in a way that would allow maximal growth. Or you could just sit stationary and enjoy the reward that exists, trivial though it may be, recognizing that future price appreciation on that trivial reward could be consequential. And Jeff gets that. And others get it. Erroneous says, I've been playing since March 2020. I've spent a lot of money from my 9 to 5 buying cards and playing the game. I have 41,000 staked SPS, and I'm feeling happy with my earnings. They're slowly going up. Tyler says, they told us from the beginning that SPS was going to be essential. The bots will kill the game. There's nothing to get around that. And then Dom goes, I guess you did not read the white paper over the last couple of years and still invested. Do your own research. I say all this not to roast Mike. Thank you for leaving that comment, Mike. I say it because I want people in this community to recognize what they're buying into. And Mike's already made the choices he's made. Those commenters that I also read, they've made their choices. But today, somebody's going to get invested. With the next bear market, somebody's going to make a move. With SPS having a future spike, and maybe that could be in days or weeks, into a 5 cent or a 10 cent. I bet there's new people coming in trying to speculate on a token. Maybe they get wrapped up in the game. I want people to hear the voice of reason in this, which in my opinion, and take it with a grain of salt, it's that this game rewards you in a trivial way. If you don't find it fun or think it has a future, you shouldn't care about those trivial rewards. But I personally think the game's fun, it has a future, and I want as many of those trivial rewards as I can get my hand. And I think I'm willing to defer my rewards, the extraction of significant value, to a future date when I see SPS reaching prices that you probably think are not possible. I think if you came to this place with the optimism that I have, and maybe I'm being unreasonable, maybe I'm being unrealistic, but if you had some of that optimism right in this moment of bear market, I suspect you would say, well, the rewards aren't where I want them to be, but I can take 2 steps today, 3 steps tomorrow, and 1 more step the next day that move me toward the goal that I want. That's life, right? You're not where you want to be today, but what about next year? And every single day from now to then, you can make certain moves, trivial though they will seem on their own, that move you closer and closer to the future you actually desire. Thank you for your comment, Mike. Thank you for the rest of you guys who left the responses also, and especially to Jeff OpenScar. Check out his videos, guys. Have an amazing day. God bless.